Sharael Maldine. I showed him. Not everything, but enough. Cullen asked about the spell, and I answered. About the essence, about channeling, about the forms and failures and costs. He listened, truly listened, and I watched his eyes open to a world he barely believed existed. He's clever, inquisitive, annoyingly persistent, a seeker of truths. But when I conjured light from my palm, I saw it, the wonder, the hunger, maybe even trust. Still, he doesn't understand the weight of this spell. Not really. How carefully it must be cast. Or what could happen if it breaks. He thinks it's a lesson, a story, maybe even a game. It's not. The Contingency was written for me, but it won't work without him. That part, I didn't say. Not yet.
You're listening to the Dark Razor Chronicles, Episode 10, The Contingency. I'm your host and author, Mike Carmel. This audio series is powered by 11 Labs voice technology. In today's episode, the journey continues. Lines are drawn, choices deepen, and nothing stays buried forever. If you've come this far, thank you. And if you're just joining us, I recommend starting with Episode 1. Now, lean in and let the blade guide you.
I stare at Sharael. She's just offered to perform a significant magical act. If she succeeds, I'll have no doubt left. I'll believe in her, follow her. She will be a member of the White Circle just as she claims. However, I suspect she's hiding something. Her selective responses, the way she sidesteps certain questions, and her trembling unease makes me wary. Our eyes meet. Hers are brown, like my mother's, like mine, catching the lantern light with a soft sparkle. They truly shone when she conjured that spark of fire in her hand. Witnessing real magic was incredible. I can't wait to tell Da. She looks away, hesitation flickering across her face.
Perhaps we've spent long enough getting to know each other.
Did I do something wrong?
I think I can trust you. Could you hold up your amulet once more, please?
My amulet. Why?
Please.
She repeats, her voice soft but insistent. I retrieve it from my pocket and hold it up by the chain.
Place it in your palm,
She instructs. As I comply, she takes my fingers in hers, drawing them down so she can see the amulet clearly. I stare at the curious dark bubble floating there.
I will cast the spell,
She says, voice steady despite the slight tremble in her hand. Do you know what it does?
I think so, partly. It's a plan sent to me by the White Circle. Important enough that they sought to get it to me before they died. I don't know what went wrong, but something prevented the oath sworn from retrieving me. This plan seeks to correct that.
Oath sworn?
Yes. There were 5 families under oath, including the Avens.
She mentioned 6 amulets before, one for her, the other 5 for the oath sworn. 4 other families, doing exactly as mine? Are they all protecting someone? She shakes her head slightly, sadness touching her eyes.
No, it's not like that. I don't know what happened to the other 4. Their oaths have ended.
There's a letter, I say, turning toward the desk. It thanks Lork and 4 others for their service. It's here somewhere. I shuffle through the parchments, searching for the document with the 5 names, but she speaks before I can locate it.
Larnd, Silft, Alosis, Feltlin, and Avon make 5.
I stop my search.
They should have come.
She says softly, her voice laced with longing. Perhaps they couldn't find you?
No, that's not it. They all had the means to find me.
They did? How? You were hidden underground in a mausoleum.
That explanation will have to wait until after I cast the spell.
Perhaps they did come. 200 years is a long time. Maybe it was forgotten, or maybe it's documented here somewhere. If we search... Her eyes meet mine, silently pleading for me to stop. There's something she isn't telling me.
Will you trust me?
She asks, her voice almost breaking. No, I reply quickly, without thought, because I don't trust her. She almost has me convinced, but I know she isn't telling me everything. Her face shifts, perplexity, anger. But before she can react, I add, but I will humor you. She exhales, a wry smile forming.
Well, at least you're honest.
I like to think so.
Then prove it to me. I need your word on something.
I shake my head. It's easy to stand firm on my morals when someone else is asking for help. But I know, deep down, that even if my actions tonight were justified, I still broke my word. Nevertheless, I say, my word is only given to those I trust, those who have earned or deserve it. Normally, I trust anyone until they give me a reason not to. Unfortunately, you already start with a deficit.
Nevertheless, I require...
Her voice falters, and she shakes her head.
No, I beg it.
Beg it? Sharael, I won't falsely promise what I won't do, but I will listen to you. She lets out a huff.
All right. I ask that you let me do what I must in casting the Contingency, that you will support me in this endeavor, on your oath.
On my oath? Do you mean I am to swear a new oath? Or are you invoking my family's oath? Because so far I failed to see how my family's oath involves helping you.
On your judgment, then.
She sounds frustrated, but that's not my fault.
You may not believe me now, but before this night is over, you will see that your oath is to me. You will understand, with clarity, that I am the embodiment of the White Circle.
My oath is to the White Circle. If you truly are the White Circle and can convince me of this, then assuredly I will honor you in my duties. She nods twice.
Fair enough. I ask now that you allow me to cast the spell. If, by its conclusion, you are not convinced, and I will accept your judgment, with no further attempts to sway you.
I nod. I want to believe her, desperately.
You must let me complete the spell without interruption. On your word now, at least in this, you must swear.
I hesitate.
Cullen, if I am interrupted, it could be disastrous. Whatever you see or hear, you must remain quiet. And, for now, humor me, if not trust me, and do as I say without argument.
Within reason, I reply, masking my unease.
Within reason.
She repeats, her voice almost a shudder. I nod. All right. You have my word. She exhales heavily, then looks at the amulet still in my hand.
Put that away and help me move the closet away from the wall.
My heart sinks. It's going to reveal an escape route, isn't it? How she entered here unnoticed. How all this was set up. My vision blurs with anger, my pulse pounding hard. I knew it. But the look on her face, the genuine look, slowly douses the fire within me. I hold back my accusations and grip the back of the closet, yanking with unnecessary force. Ouch, I say flatly. It doesn't budge, and I nearly dislocate my shoulder. With 2 hands, I heave, and then rewarded with the grinding scrape of wood against stone. It's heavier than I expected. No way she could have moved it alone. I've moved the closet far enough from the wall to fit my arm between them. Using the wall for support, I create a gap a couple of handspans wide.
Perhaps we should have moved some of the equipment first,
Sharael says with a wry smile. The backpacks and other items in its path have toppled, but it doesn't matter. I am on the verge of discovering nothing. I step back and fetch the lantern from the table, shining it into the space. No hidden entrance. But there is something. A sword leans in the corner. I grab it by the scabbard's throat and lift it from its hiding place.
Bring it here,
She commands, motioning to the table. I comply, laying it between us as I hang the lantern back on its hook. I know swords. I've seen many in my time, but this one is peculiar. Its grip, pommel, and crossguard are all black, glinting uniformly in the lantern light. What could it be? Graph iron, perhaps? But there are few graph iron blades, and none with graph iron hilts that I know of. Dwarven smiths might fashion a shard into a sword shape, but they can't create anything that isn't already in the form they need. Glass, maybe? I've heard that Cadian troops use ceramic weapons as strong as steel, stronger, actually. But if this sword were glass, it would be heavier. So, not glass either. I study the scabbard. It seems to be of the same make, black, smooth, and flawless. Perhaps lacquered to perfection, but even the clasps are black. Are they enameled?
Now step back.
Sharael instructs before I can draw the sword.
White Circle, Episode 2, Time and Secrets. From the Journals of Prothalis Avangar. His name is Artemas Hesi, or at least it was. He speaks with a thick accent, clipped and musical, unlike anything I've heard from the known world. And when he speaks, it's often nonsense, disjointed phrases, terms I don't recognize. His eyes shift constantly, as though waiting for something to lunge from the shadows, as though he's seen too much, and yet he listens closely. I visit him daily. At first he says little, but in time his words begin to connect, and I begin to understand just how deep this rabbit hole goes. He calls the facility Silandria. He claims it was once part of a global network, a power node, he says, a wellspring meant to serve, not just contain. He speaks of things that sound impossible, tools that think, walls that remember, engines that fly. He doesn't call them spells, he calls them systems. He shows me images, moving pictures on the glowing walls. He calls them computers. I call them a miracle. He is not from this world, or rather, not from this time. He tells me he was a captain once, long before it was buried, before the world burned. He barely made it into the cryo chamber. The system froze him, locked him away, and time forgot. The more he tells me, the less I sleep. The world we know, the world we thought was born of gods and myth, was built atop ruin. A cataclysm wiped away a civilization of impossible brilliance, and we are the scraps. I don't share this with the villagers, not yet, not even the other wizards. They ask where I go each day. I lie. I speak of meditation, of deep focus, of long fasting rituals. They accept this. Most of them are too curious to press further, all except one, Dúntrí Cliveborn. He's the newest arrival to the village, but older than anyone seems to know. An odd man, thin, twitching, eyes like silver knives. He calls himself a wizard, but not like the rest of us. He doesn't chant, he doesn't scribe, he thinks something, and it happens. When I first met him, I dismissed him as eccentric. Now I know better. When I finally tell him about Artemas, he laughs. Not the cruel laugh of disbelief, the delighted laugh of recognition.
I was wondering when you'd find him.
They speak for barely an hour, and when they finish, Dúntrí turns to me and says,
He is not from our world, or rather, not from our now.
From that moment, the work begins. We keep it secret, the three of us. Duntri, Artemis Hesse, Art as I've been calling him now, goes by the name Arthesi, and me. The name change comes out of necessity. Hesse, it turns out, was the name of a demon overlord in old tongues. If word spread that we consorted with such a name, it could doom everything. So Arthesi he becomes, half tribute, half transformation. And to the rest of the village he becomes a legend. They see his dark skin, hear his strange words, and call him blessed or cursed. Either way, they leave him alone. Each day we descend into Silandria. Each day we uncover more. Arthesi teaches us what he remembers about the node, about the cataclysm, about the world that was. We map the old glyphs, we decipher dead tongues, we activate machines that have not moved in millennia. The power here is vast, almost limitless. To me it is divine. To Duntri it is trivial. He shrugs at glowing walls and floating symbols, yawns at dancing lights that once awed me. He is amused, not amazed, as if he has seen this before, or something better. And yet, when we speak of what we've learned, we agree. The world is in danger. The records we find are clear. The past world wasn't destroyed by gods or monsters, it was destroyed by man. Arthesi speaks of the war, how the rise of technology devoured their peace, how greed grew faster than wisdom, how they created weapons that shattered continents. It ended in flame. And we stand on the bones of that broken age. The revelation terrifies me, even more terrifying. It's happening again. I see the signs, in politics, in conquest, in unchecked ambition. Magic is growing, but so are the old hungers. It will spiral, it always does. Duntri proposes a solution, so simple, so strange, it feels like madness. He proposes we create a circle, not of protection, of purpose, a hidden council of magic, of foresight, a covenant bound not by laws or blood, but by understanding. We will preserve the knowledge of the old world. We will prevent its mistakes. We will reshape man before man destroys itself again. It is audacious, impossible, and utterly necessary. We name it the White Circle, and as we speak the name aloud for the first time, I feel the node stir beneath my feet, like something ancient has just woken up.
Eager to see the blade, I feel a pang of disappointment. But now is not the time to challenge her, even if I may be arming her. She begins arranging the pages of the Contingency, spreading them around the sword on the table. As she does, I notice a small black symbol resembling a sword on one of the pages. Now, as she lays them all out, I see that nearly every page bears it. Is this the sword symbolized by the spell? I ask. Sharael nods without speaking. Could any sword be substituted? She doesn't answer, focusing instead on arranging the pages in a sequence I can't decipher.
Help me with this,
She says, pointing to a small table against the wall. We clear its contents together. A flask falls to the floor and shatters, but she ignores it. We move the smaller table beside the central one, adding 6 more pages.
Remember, Cullen,
Her voice edged with warning.
to its completion. No interruptions, no questions. Just stay in your place and let me do what I must.
I nod. She examines my face, then looks back at the first page. She seems to read the opening lines before whispering,
Corbin, give me strength.
Corbin? The name is unfamiliar. I wonder who he was. Sharael takes a deep breath and begins.
Exponentia cellula compage.
The air around us thickens at her words. They sound foreign, yet the ones that follow are even more so. After just a few sentences, her voice distorts. The air warps around her, making her image shimmer like heat waves on the horizon. Above the table, just over the sword, a speck of light appears. The room darkens as if the lanterns have gone out. Glowing amber glyphs flicker into existence on the scattered backpacks, clothing, and items around the room. Then, to my shock, one appears on Sharael's chest, the same glyph that had formed on the page at her touch. My heart races. The light above the table expands into a sphere the size of a large pumpkin, dividing into a framework of vertical lines like the segments of a fruit. The sphere brightens and the glyphs around the room begin to fade. A sudden thought grips me. I glance down. There, on my chest, a fading glyph. The same one that had appeared on the spells page under my hand. Stunned, I want to reflect on this, but Sharael continues. I am part of this. Somehow, I always have been. But have I initiated something more? Have I inadvertently written myself into the spell she casts? Her warped words echo through the room. The floating sphere spins slightly on its axis. I fix my eyes on it. She had said something that sounded vaguely like my name, but the distortion makes it impossible to be sure. The sphere turns again, pausing long enough for small blue glyphs to appear in the segment facing her. It rotates almost fully before 3 more glyphs appear in seemingly random locations. I see her glyph. I see mine. They appear side by side. I watch as the sphere turns. Small clusters of glyphs forming in another segment. Then more. Groups within groups. A bell tolls. Sharael reaches forward, her fingers brushing the air. The grouped glyphs react, shifting slightly at her touch. Another bell sounds. The glyphs slide across the sphere's surface, condensing into a single segment. The sphere rotates again. More glyphs appear, spreading across its surface. She touches them, and they respond, brightening and remaining so as she taps out patterns. She reads aloud from the pages, words spilling from her lips in ways I can't understand. Another bell tolls. Another segment fills. The air tastes metallic. When did that start? The sphere turns, and Sharael stops reading. Now, her focus is solely on tapping the correct symbols in front of her. Her words are monotone. The dramatic resonance from before is gone. For a moment I understand her. She speaks of time, of space. She lists numbers as she taps a grid before her. Each tap adds a glyph to the final segment. It fills quickly. I clench my fists, my breath shallow. Despite my fear, I step closer, watching as the last spaces fill. With every tap, my heart pounds faster. The sphere contracts. In a blink, it shrinks to a single blue glow, no larger than a pebble, hovering over the sword. Sharael's eyes flick to mine. She looks worried. Why? Why does she hesitate? Surely this is the culmination of whatever plan was sent to her from 200 years ago. Surely it can't all be for nothing. Her jaw tightens. Determination sets in. She taps the pebble. Lightning explodes outward, bright blue tendrils leaping across the room, striking everything, including me. I have no time to react, no time to dodge. My instincts scream, but there is no pain. Only a strange tingling, like standing too close to a storm. Then, unexpectedly, I feel at ease. The bright blue tendrils traverse my chest like threads of silk. The lightning fades, leaving fragmented shadows dancing in my vision. The pebble begins to fall. I anticipate it bouncing off the sword's surface, but instead, it strikes at the blade where water. The sword consumes it, and the room plunges into silent darkness.
Thanks for listening. This was episode 10 of the Dark Razor Chronicles. I'm your host and author, Mike Carmel. If you're enjoying the series, one of the best ways you can support it is by leaving a review. It might seem like a small thing, but it makes a huge difference. Reviews help new listeners find the show, let platforms know people are engaged, and honestly, they keep creators like me going. You can also find bonus content, updates, and more at mikecarmel.ca. That's mikecarmel.ca. And remember, if the blade calls, answer it. If your oath is tested, honor it. If the world turns strange, hold your ground. See you next episode.